Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you how to change the front prop shaft on the Land Rover Discovery 2. So last week we were on holiday in Cornwall, and all of a sudden I could hear this quite loud shrieking kind of chirping noise coming from the truck. Now I knew from experience it was either the prop shaft or the exhaust manifold bolts. Now I've already done the exhaust manifold, as you've seen in the previous video, linked there. So I presumed it was the front prop shaft. So crawled underneath, have a look, and this is what I found. Totally broken. And the movement on that. It's totally broken up. Right, so here's my replacement prop shaft. This is a spare I just had at home. Luckily in Cornwall, a mate of mine from the D2 Boys Club came over and lent me his because he had diff lock. So if you have diff lock, you can enable diff lock and then you can run and drive the vehicle without the front prop. But unfortunately I don't have diff lock. So we replaced my prop in the field of the campsite, and enabled me to get home. So I have this one spare at home. Just checked all over. All of the UJs are perfect, all working as expected. Now you can rebuild these with uprated UJs. The uprated ones will have a grease nipple on them, so you can actually grease them, and I think that it will prolong the life of them. The factory Land Rover ones do not have grease nipples. Now, tools wise, the nuts and bolts that hold the front prop on, there's 4 each end, so there's 4 on the diff and 4 on the transfer box, and they are 9/16. Now you can use a 14mm, but if I just show you, so a 14mm, this is one of the nuts. A 14mm doesn't really fit on an open end spanner, but it will. It's hard to do this one handed. There you go. It will on a ring spanner. So a socket and a ring spanner is your friend if you only have 14mm. If you have the correct spanners, if you have 9/16, you can use an open ended one like that. You can also buy a specialist socket for the front prop, because you can't use a big socket because of the angle. If I show you here, the angle here, it will hit when this is in place. You think of it at an angle, this will hit and it doesn't work. Let's go and take the borrowed prop off. Top tip for safety: if you have rear airbag suspension, always put a jack or an extra stand, just in case one of the bags explodes when you're working on the vehicle, and the vehicle comes down on you. Right underneath the truck, this is the transfer box end. So this end you just have to undo the nuts. Okay. And moving across to the diff end, here you have a nut and bolt, and you need to remove both the nut and bolt. Okay, so let's get cracking. So 9/16, 40mm. Just quickly, once you loosen them off, then you can use a socket a little quicker. So just knock these ones off. And then spin. So I've got a jack underneath the front wheel. You can spin the wheel, put it in neutral, and then you can get to the other two. Nice and easy. Oop. This one. What do we do with this? See if I can cheat using a speed it up a lot. Right, so because of this nipple on the front one, I can't get my socket in there, so I'll just undo this manually. Right, so it's loose, so I'm just going to leave that nut and bolt in there just to stop it falling out while we do the back one. So just crack these off. I may have to put the wheel back on the ground if they're tight. But as I had these undone a couple of days ago. Alright. They're all off. As I said, the bolts stay in situ. You can't get them off because they hit the flange on the transfer box. Alright, so we just undo this last nut and bolt. Right. And then just pull it off. Oh, got a bolt in there. And it's out. So here's the old nuts and bolts. As you can see, they're 9-lock nuts, but I just happen to have in my spares a brand new set of prop shaft nuts and bolts, so I'll be fitting these instead. They can just disappear. Now looking at the transfer box, you can see which way the prop will bolt onto. So get the end with the double joint on it and just actually place it on like that. Oh, where's my nuts gone? Oh, hang on, need my nuts. Better cut the nuts on so it doesn't fall off. Make sure you line the prop up so the bolts holes are the same, because you can get it wrong. So that's one. So as long as you get two next to each other lined up, you know you're right. So better cut the nuts on so it doesn't fall off. And then fit the remaining nuts and bolts by spinning the wheel so you get access. See the last nut. Alright, so I'm going to put these last two nuts on here. And it's just a case of doing them up. And then just don't you love mud falling on your head? Right, you can do them up so tight, and then we drop the wheel, and then you get more leverage. So, same with the front really. Oh, nip them up with this if I can. Hasn't got a lot of torque, this. Hasn't got any torque, I'll look at it. Right, it's going to be crap. This is what I was saying about the socket getting stuck in the... there. Oh. the moment. Just make sure the socket doesn't get stuck. There you go. One prop shaft fitted.